I am thankful for the day. I am grateful for the day. For everything in my day shall bring me something to learn. I shall no longer dwell in the obsolete being of self. I shall now cultivate from the absolute becoming of myself. It's the mantra that I use when I go to the gym. It's similar to trust versus I trust is greater than I hope. Grand Rise, Divine Rising, Gracious Rising. I trust that you are graciously thankful for this day. And may it be everything you require to create everything that you desire based on the absolute becoming and not staying within the obsolete being. The obsolete being is the thought or the holding on to the thought or the feeling of. So when we think about living in the thought process of living in the thought or the feeling, the thought of the feeling. We think about aspects when we are the thought that counts, or these actions that we use for ourselves that are outside of the understanding of going any further. I'm thankful for every single day. I'm grateful for every single day because in every day I'm learning something. And every day I'm learning something through that day. That day, everything that comes into my day is giving me something, is showing me something, is bringing me into this state of becoming. I can embrace becoming because I'm learning from every single day. When we are stuck, one is stuck in the obsolete being. The obsolete, means after you've had that thought, it's pretty much dead. Once someone has pretty much had that thought, once they've had the thought, it's pretty much dead. It's pretty much no longer feasible after you've had that thought or you've had that action. You just are now doomed to repeat it. You're just not doomed to repeat it. It's the thought process if you're doing it based upon an agenda, even when an agenda by that aspect of you coming into yourself is simply going into a space for a reaction to the state of your being. Today is the last day of my 20-day fast. Today is the last day. Some of the reasons that I was able to go through the entire process of my 20-day fast was I had no external agenda because I already knew that stuff would naturally happen. Like, oh my God, you're going to lose weight. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Because in that same thing, you're going to lose so much weight. But then on the other end, I had people like, you really go that long with a fast, don't your body need nutrients? You're teaching your body the reset because everything your body is not having a chance to digest everything. This is what happens when we're stuck in this obsolete being. Staying within that position and not allowing ourselves to digest. Not allowing ourselves to actually take in information, allowing it to actually allow it to settle in. We're so used to this instantaneous, and that's the most important part when you're coming into this aspect of truly surrendering yourself to the space of that absolute being. The way that you speak to yourself is based on your absolute being. Are you speaking from your higher aspects of yourself? Or are you speaking from the aspects of who are you listening to? I'm always going into who are we listening to? Every time that you have a thought that you think that you're thinking about something, you're actually listening to. So who are you listening to? Are you listening to that inner child? Are you listening to the inner child? And if so, is the inner child intact? Have you groomed and have you had that nice conversation with your inner child based upon it being absolutely having the space to truly love, to truly embrace itself, to truly express itself in ways that are based upon the unbiased? It's more unified to yourself. There's no agenda why you do things. even into the aspect of you not doing it based upon an agenda, you're just doing it to do it. You just doing it and feeling that you need to do it is an agenda. You having the feel to the need to do this or to subject yourself to this space, that's the agenda. So then that makes you really think about your thoughts that count in your becoming. Anything that's based upon your becoming, you can expand within. That means in every single thing that I do in my day, I'm thinking about how can I expand within it. Everything that I do inside of my day, I'm thinking of how can I learn, whether I'm learning in the aspects of expansion, whether I'm teaching in the aspects of expansion, whatever I'm doing, I'm thinking about the aspects of expansion going into that full space of full spectrum. When we concentrate on the obsolete being, we only think about as far as something external. We only think about as far as this is going to take us, how far as this is going to take us. If I do this, this is going to last again until next year. If I do this, then it's going to last for the next couple of weeks. That's how the illusion or this space is set up. It's set up from month to month, week to week. It's set up to keep you in that mentality. It's set up never really to let you become your absolute best. The absolute aspects of your best. Because it's a training ground. Sitting in this space after 20 days, like my taste buds are reset to even how I taste my tea. My thought processes have been re-implemented. Like everything that I've been working over all the last few months is fully embedded into my subconscious. It's like it's in there. And it's like working in that space at a maximum efficiency. I'm in a quantum phase of myself. That means as soon as I'm thinking it, I'm speaking it. As soon as it comes to my mind, because I'm not looking at it as it coming from. If it's coming from my thought process, that means I have to check it too many times. Let me check this. Let me make this make sense. Let me do this. But if it's coming from my heart, if it's coming from the alignment of my mind and heart, and I'm speaking it from that space, there is no ulterior motive. It's too straightforward and direct. Now, this becomes an aspect when you're in your absolute becoming of yourself, in that healing process of yourself, that you've done that aspect of that work, that cultivating yourself, that working within yourself, doing that inner work. Until you do the inner work, everything's always going to lead you right back to your shadow work. It's fun. I always say this. It's always this process of when people are like, I'm conscious and I'm woke. I say, okay, cool. You're diet woke or you're diet conscious. Cool. You're in your trial phase. Cool. But until you actually come in and you actually start expounding upon the depths of inside of self. Start expounding upon those depths inside of self. And taking those times to yourself. And allowing it to come out. Allowing yourself to become vulnerable is the key. Everything that you once thought in the thought of, that is the obsolete. It cannot serve a purpose unless you bring it back to the surface. So when we think about these aspects of our thoughts in our space, how many things are you holding on to from your past that is in a physical manifestation? How many things are you holding on to in your present that are a physical manifestation of your past that you have not let go of? So then ask yourself the question, how can you move forward if you're still within those aspects of your past, the physical manifestations? How can you move forward and become fulfilled if you're still, remember, you got to become empty before you become fulfilled. A lot of us are in this space, especially over the next couple of days coming into your rebirth, allowing yourself to surrender to the space. Allowing yourself to surrender to the subject matter or the attributes of the ideal of where you're trying to go. That means that job, That means that job. You going back to school. You advancing education, whatever it may be. You have to subject yourself to the aspects of the begin. Subject yourself, surrender and subject yourself or submit yourself to the attributes of that space. Because everything you submit to, think about it like an application. Everything you submit to, you're trying to get something from. Take that out of your space. Everything that I'm submitting myself to, everything I'm submitting myself to, I'm not trying to get anything from it. It's all about what I'm becoming through that. Change your thought process. Everything that you're doing in your space now, whatever you are submitting yourself to, you're not getting anything from. That's the human narrative. We're going into the space of I'm getting, what am I becoming the longer I'm around this? This is how you switch from that literal train of thought into the aspects of creating the new scapes and expanding. It's a process. I had to go through that process a lot. You're going to go through that process a lot of times. Because everything that you used to take in a literal sense, that you're now creating a new scape to expand upon, is going to challenge everything that you literally use to exist in the thought of. So you never really feel the full feeling. You never really get the full feeling. It's like you're going through life in a condom suit. Like you're going through life in a condom, basically. So you never get the true feeling or the true understanding of that space. This is you becoming, you're shifting from the obsolete being into the absolute becoming. But it's going to require that aspect of the work. As you're going through your shifts, especially if you have Aquarius, look for Aquarius inside of your chart. Look for your placements in your Jupiter. Look for the placements of your Jupiter. Look for the placements of your Saturn as you're coming into the conjunction, because we understand Jupiter is the aspect of that, the knowledge aspect or the fathering aspect, and Saturn is the guidance, pushing the stuff out. Saturn's like your mother going into your bedroom, and you said you clean the room, and then she pulls all of this stuff out of your closet. That's what Saturn is playing. That's what Saturn has played. And now Jupiter is the aspect of standing there like, you know you don't need that anymore. It's time to clean out your space. Because after a while, once you, this is how you trick your ego. If I say I need to get something done, or I need to have something done, and then, okay, cool, what around it needs to be done. If I start doing the things around it, it kind of takes away the reason, takes away the original reasoning. This doesn't happen, and this doesn't happen, and this doesn't happen. Okay, take it away. Start peeling that shit back. That's like, there's no one else to blame. There's no one else to give this aspect of external blame to. Because every time that you do this, you're giving this obsolete being more light. You know this goes into every situation where you're at right now. I want you to be fucking great. But the only way to do that is start throwing away the things that no longer are needed. Allow yourself to surrender to the thought process of going without this, going without that. But you're not doing it based upon this thought process of an agenda. The longer that I go without this, that means, because when most people do, when you go in that agenda process, you're going to go as long as you can without it until you create, and then down the line, you're going to create another thing to replace it, and then another way to have it. Down the line, if you're doing something, for example, let me stop smoking. All right, cool. You stop smoking, but now you pick up eating. Now you're eating more. Stop replacing it and let it go. If you feel that it's only based upon that thought of it, let it go. Because all it's doing is keeping you in the same space. It's keeping you in the same thought process. It's keeping you in that same. You following that same train of thought. So then you're following that same train of thought. So now you cannot give yourself the honor and the respect that you deserve to yourself. in that process of you healing yourself. Let it go. That closet, that bag, that drawer, whatever it may be, that your contact list, whatever it may be, clean it out. Clean yourself away from obsolete things that represented the aspects of the obsolete being of yourself. Stop giving yourself reasons to go back. You already understand that there is no going back. You already understand that that shit is over. So why would you keep the memorabilia other than the aspect that you haven't learned from it yet? Let's be honest with ourselves. I'm thankful for the entire day. I'm grateful for my day because it teaches me something every single day. I learn something. I'm thankful for every day. I'm thankful for everything that happens in my day because I'm learning to live to my fullest in every single day. I'm releasing myself from the aspects that no longer feed me in the aspect of the quality that of feeding myself. Whatever I put my energy into brings equal energy back to me. Whatever I put out is equally reciprocated. It's doubled. This is me in my own abundance. I know what I deserve because I've done that inner work. I've unified the aspects of myself. I've surrendered to the process of healing. That's your key. And that's this week's podcast episode, The Art of Surrender. Submitting to the becoming. That's what we're getting into this week. This Friday, we are getting into... I ain't even going to tell you what we're getting into this Friday on the Friday Night Lectures. Stay tuned for that information. Until you have unified with yourself, everything outside of you is exactly what it needs to be. Learn it, live it, because only a few of us are going to make it. Even fewer of us are going to walk through the door, and even fewer of us are going to build inside that dark space. Which space are you? Remember, the past, the present, and the future are all in the same timeline. There's no such thing as time. I want you to be the fucking best. I want you to be great. I want you to be the best. I want you to be great. I desire for you to be the best you. I desire you to exceed past the limitations of the original set points of those traumas and of those events that happened. But you gotta go inside and deal with those things in order to remove those settings, remove the thinkers. Allow yourself to actually become grounded in your truth. Yeah. Services, GodOccult-LLC.com. Support by way of Occult Alchemy, my Shopify.com. Got new hoodies, tapestries, hoodies, hats, new gear coming at the top of the year for that. Or Lucifer Somni's Cash App link. Great rising. I want you to be the fucking best. Take this aspect of what's happening right now to be the fucking best. Stop waiting for things to happen based upon a date or a time. Stop being stuck in time trying to make things happen or waiting for yourself to be like, it's been this many years and this shit happened at this many years. Have you done the work in that result to yourself of doing what you're trying to get to? That's the question that you ask yourself. It's time to be totally honest with yourself. Totally bluntly honest with yourself. This I'm real, that doesn't exist to you. I'd rather be true than real. Because real means I got to define it by somebody else's, by the external aspect. True, that's my own soul, that's me. I don't have to depend on validation from anybody else to make me what I am. Everything else just becomes a reflection of something. If it triggers you, need to work on it. If it doesn't trigger you, observe it and see how you can implement it into your life. That's going to be your key. Everything is synonymous. Once you get one thing in order, everything else gonna fall in order. I promise you. Once you get yourself in that true order of yourself, watch everything else fall in order. It is gonna give you exactly what you desire, not what you want and need. There's a difference. Your desire is gonna be based upon the value of the worth of you, in the connection to you. That need and want shit is gonna be based upon the supply and demand of the feeling of, or the thought of the feeling. This is what we really gotta start using our discernment for. I don't want things based upon feeling. The feeling of. The thought of the feeling. I want it to be truly in line with the feeling so I can grow within it. It helps you expand. But yeah, be working on this episode of the podcast. Be the fucking best. Be great. I love you. You love us. Ashe.